Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. This Oklahoma defense starting to look like what we thought it would look like when Brent Venables took the job in Norman. I think you saw some growing pains last year. What I think you're seeing this year is this Oklahoma defense really settling in and playing fast. I mean, I think last year you go back to the film, a lot of thinking, a lot of new schemes, and the guys were kind of thinking more and not really playing football. You're seeing this year they have a really good grasp of this defense, the schematics of this defense. And instead of thinking, they're just going out playing fast. The commentators noted it. This Oklahoma defense just looks bigger, faster, stronger on the defensive side of the ball. And if you're an Oklahoma fan, like you have to be absolutely thrilled with how this defense is coming along. This is an SMU defense that, in my mind, will be a top 40, maybe even top 30 offense in Oklahoma did a phenomenal job. Looking at some of the numbers, you talk about playing winning football. 4 of 16 on third down for SMU. Oklahoma was phenomenal at getting off the field. Forced 2 turnovers, 2 more turnovers on down. 5.6 yards per pass attempt, 3.4 yards per carry. An absolute dominant performance by Oklahoma. And what I think is the most impressive statistic of the day, 26 total players on the defensive side of the ball came up with defensive stops. I mean, the amount of depth and the amount of players that Oklahoma could cycle in, really, really impressive. And you go back to our game preview of this, both teams wanted to run fast. And what we said is in the second half, the depth of this Oklahoma team, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, is going to show out because guys are going to get tired. Oklahoma, not so much because they have so many guys. They were cycling in and out. I tried to take notes on as many players as I could. You guys see the notepad right here. I mean, Brent Venables' head roof really keeping me busy because the amount of players that were playing significant snaps for the Sooners defense, absolutely insane. Now, before we get into the schematics of the defense, talking about some players that I think really showed out, just want to say thank you to you guys, and especially the Oklahoma fans. You guys know how much I love talking about this team, how high I am on Brent Venables and what he can do with this program. The support you guys have shown truly does mean a lot. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, and again, the best part about doing this, talking ball with you guys in the comment section, learning from you guys, hearing what you guys have to say. So let me know in the comments what you guys, your biggest takeaway from this Oklahoma defense. I'm about to give you guys mine, kind of empty the notepad after watching this game back last night. And let's get into it. Now, before we get into specific players, I want to talk a little bit more about the schematics of this defense and stuff you're seeing a little bit different. Oklahoma going to the 3-down lineman set a lot on 1st and 10. And I think what allows them to do this is the different kind of bodies that you have up front. Rondell Bothroyd, Jonah Lalu playing on the edge kind of. I mean, that allows you to take on double teams extremely well, kind of like TCU did last year in terms of they had a bunch of defensive linemen that were really good at the point of attack, eating up double teams. And what did that allow? When you go 3-down linemen, you're just giving a little bit more size for a little bit more speed on the back end. These linebackers, these safeties were coming up in run support in a massive, massive way. Again, if you have defensive linemen that can keep linebackers clean, that's massive. And it makes it even more massive when you have 2 linebackers who I think might be one of the better linebacker duos in the country in Danny Stutzman and Jaron Kanak. I thought Kip Lewis played some really, really good football as well. You saw this team flying around the football. And my first note that I have was swarming to the ball. This is a team that just is playing faster than you saw last year. And I think that is due to 2 things. 1, getting more of the bodies that Brent Venables wants on the defensive side of the ball. And 2, these guys aren't thinking as much. They're just going out and playing football. They have a better grasp on their responsibilities and what the schematics of this defense is. And you're seeing that in a meaningful way. And as a Michigan fan, we saw a very similar kind of result last year, right? It was our second year going into our new defense, and you could tell guys the first year we're just thinking too much, right? Trying to run different packages on and off the field, not getting set, a little bit confused. This year or last year for Michigan, it was more like, hey, we know what we're doing. Now we're out playing football. You're seeing that for Oklahoma this year. Now, I want to talk about some players that really stood out, and I want to go up front and talk about Mason Thomas, a guy that kind of a little bit under the radar. I think during the offseason, I talked a lot about Rondell Bothroyd, who was awesome. He's one of the best, if not the best, defensive lineman for Oklahoma. That being said, Mason Thomas kind of flying under the radar. And you look at this defensive line, so many guys that can do so many different things, right? Rondell Bothroyd's a guy that you want on the first down, really, really stout against the run, can get after the passer. But when you get into third and long, a guy like Mason R. Thomas, who has incredible burst and bend around the edge in terms of rushing the passer, it's massive. And you saw Oklahoma rotate a ton of guys on that defensive line. And when you can go 3 deep at every position on that defensive line of guys who play at a high level, that's how you have a special defense. Going back to that comment we made about Georgia, Georgia was so good on the defensive line, not only because they had some star power, but they had guys who are going to be playing in the NFL running in their 3 deep. And you look at this Oklahoma defensive line, you have guys that would be starting on other Power 5 schools that are being rotational pieces. It's so massive for Oklahoma. And again, in the second half, when guys should be tired, for Oklahoma, they're not tired because they've been rotating in and out all game. You have guys with fresh legs coming in on third down in the second half and absolutely getting after the passer. Now, going back outside of that defensive line, again, you could shout out so many guys. Ethan Downs played very good. Mason R. Thomas, Rondell Bothroyd, really, really exciting there. Jonah Lalu, a guy that I was really excited for last year, he's starting to turn it up this year. A ton of contributors on the defensive line. You go back to the linebacker room, Danny Stutzman, arguably the best linebacker in college football, flies around the football field, never really misses a gap. He missed, I think, one run fit all game last night, and there were a lot of plays. I mean, this dude is an absolute animal. Jaron Kanik, I thought Kip Lewis played really good. The guy I want to talk about the most, though, and this is we did not spend a lot of time, and this is credit to the Oklahoma fans. And again, you talk about why I love doing this. I learned from you guys. I spent a lot of time talking about the Sama Koloff at that cheetah position and all the things that he's going to do. And you guys in the comment section go, hey, keep an eye on Justin Harrington. He's making a lot of noise in fall camp. Justin Harrington is the epitome of what you want at that cheetah position. Like flying around the football field, helping in run support, really good in coverage, tackling in space. Justin Harrington might be the MVP of this defense. And that's saying something because there are a lot of guys you could give that MVP to last night. I thought Justin Harrington probably played the best football out of everybody. He's a guy that, again, when you want, and this is a thing that we've talked about a lot. Defenses want to get more speed on the field to match with what the spread offense, especially a team like SMU, wants to do, but also not really give up in run support. Justin Harrington is that perfect guy because although undersized in terms of playing a linebacker position, playing around the line of scrimmage, he makes up with it with the physicality that he plays with. A guy that can cover in the back end, a guy that you don't really give much up in the run game. Justin Harrington, absolutely phenomenal. And then you look back at that secondary, my notepad, I got so many guys I want to shout out in that secondary. Now, Gentry Williams, Woody Washington, Billy Bowman is kind of emerging as that guy. I will say it's hard and it's a very difficult, it's a good problem to have for Brent Venables. But you got Billy Bowman, Reggie Pearson, Key Lawrence, all guys who've played a ton of football, who are playing at a high level of football. You got to find a way to get Peyton Bowen still on the field because Peyton Bowen might be the best guy in the back end. I mean, when you see him play, even that pass interference in the back of the end zone in the second half, ticky-tacky. Like, I know the announcers agreed with it. I don't know if I agreed with it. I think he gets away with that a lot, and that was a phenomenal play. He gets the interception to kind of essentially ice the game. He was really, really good. Connie Walker, again, you talk about guys in the 3 deep who are playing meaningful football. Connie Walker was phenomenal for the Sooners. It's a defense that I think 2 things. One, is going to get better as the season goes on because you got a lot of new faces, right? Reggie Pearson in the transfer portal. Josiah Wagner's a true freshman. Peyton Bowen's a true freshman. Connie Walker hasn't played a ton of football yet, but is starting to play more. You're getting guys who I think are still learning this defense, are going to continue to get better in this defense. But the biggest thing for me on the defensive side of the ball, and it's something that we've been harping on, but you're seeing it on the field now, is the amount of players and the amount of depth that this Sooners team has. One, competitive competition. That never hurts, right? When you have multiple guys who would be starters on other Power 5 teams fighting for one singular starting spot on this Oklahoma defense, it's going to make everyone in that room better. And then the second thing is when you're playing some up-tempo teams like SMU and a lot of the teams you're going to see in the Big 12, having guys that you can rotate in and out and not really have a drop off in performance, absolutely massive. This SMU team is really, really good. I mentioned a bunch of stats that Oklahoma had that were really good in winning football stats. I don't know what the best winning football stat is. Only giving up 11 points to one of the better offenses that you'll see all year. Again, Preston Stone, very, very good. They got two really good running backs, some really talented wide receivers, and the Oklahoma defense kind of shut them out. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, I think there are things that they left some meat on the bone continually. But in the second half, I think you saw them really kind of hit their stride. I'm not nervous about the Oklahoma offense. I think that's going to be a really good group. But what I'm most excited about, what we talked about in terms of Oklahoma really making some noise, is the defensive side of the ball taking some massive strides. And through the first 2 weeks, well, you shut out Arkansas State. You only gave up 11 points to SMU. Statistically, this is one of the best defenses in the entire country. And I think it is one of the best defenses in the country, even when you get into Big 12 play, because this team flies around the football. They force turnovers. They're getting off on third down. If they continue this play, this is one of the most dangerous teams in the whole entire country. Can't wait to watch this defense continue to get better as Brent Venables continues to teach these guys. And people forget, Brent Venables, one of the better player development coaches across the entire country, right? What he did at Clemson in terms of developing linebackers, defensive linemen, guys in the secondary, putting them in spots to be successful, you have to be patient. I think we were a little ignorant to think that Brent Venables comes in and takes this Oklahoma defense and immediately makes them one of the best units in the country. That being said, 12 plus months of working with these guys, getting a lot of returning starters back, getting the guys he wanted in the transfer portal. You're starting to see Brent Venables really take this defense to the next level. Very, very exciting group that we're going to be keeping tabs on. Again, appreciate you guys, the Sooner fans. This is, you guys see how excited I am to talk Oklahoma football. Can't thank you guys enough for rocking with the boys. Would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.